everyone. Welcome to the session on audience motivations. In this lecture, we intend to understand the nature and characteristics of audiences in advertising. We need to discuss different types of needs and motives, and we will be gaining knowledge about different kinds of audience motivations with respect to advertising. To begin with, let's start by defining what are audiences. Rossiter and Percy in 1985 in their advertising communication models say that a target audience consists of people who will be most responsive to advertising. As mediated communication evolves, audiences too need to be redefined. Existing paradigm in mass media contend that audiences are receivers towards whom the message is directed. Previously, the concept of mass audience was relevant. Wilbur Schramm, in his model of mass communication, refers to mass audience as a composite of many receivers involved in the process of decoding, interpreting, and encoding. The individual receiver is further connected to a bunch of receivers where the message is decoded and acted upon. But in the convergent era, as the distinctions between media erode and the nature and characteristics of audiences too is being reconsidered. In fact, mass audience today has made way for audience fragmentations, defining audiences in a different manner. In order to understand audiences, especially with respect to advertising, Barbara Stern's model of advertising communication process is highly useful. Barbara Stern in her model describes how advertisers, agencies and audiences communicate in an interactive process. It is a postmodern theory to create a model of commercial text-based communication. Stern identifies multidimensionality of each of the three key elements, source, message and receiver, in the advertising communication process. While she considers source as sponsor, sender and persona, and message as narrative, drama and autobiography, her concentration on the three types of receivers is vital. This model considers the active role of audiences in making meanings from the ad messages. The three types of receivers are: implied receivers is the imagined audience that is ideally receptive to your audience. It is the large group of audience which is heterogeneous and anonymous but is interested in your message and also consumes the media through which message is delivered. The second set of receivers are sponsorial receivers. Now, sponsorial receivers are the sponsor's personnel, the people from the corporate organization that approve the advertising messages which are created by the authors or the agency professionals. They're the first in line receivers of the communication which is being created for the brands. Third category is very vital to us, and that is the actual set of receivers. It is the target segment identified for a particular ad message. It is obtained through a systematic process of consumer research. It is this audience which the advertising is aiming at. Also, you must understand that the effectiveness of advertising is measured in terms of the active receiver's responses. So we see that three dimensions of receivers bring in the connotative meanings of the term target audience in a postmodern interactive world of advertising. Now we move on to trying to understand, so what are target audiences in advertising? As we all know that advertising campaigns are not directed at everyone. It is intended for a group of people clubbed together on the basis of certain commonalities that they share or can potentially share a functional or emotional relationship with the product. This group of people, classified on the basis of certain characteristics or properties, is called as target audience in advertising. So now we move on to understanding audience motivations. And in order to understand audience motivations more clearly, it is very important to visit the conceptual framework or the theory that posits behind it. If you go by the media effects tradition, the uses and gratification theory throws light on audience motivations. In the UG construct, audiences are active media consumers who are well aware of their needs and motivations. The needs and motivations include information, education, personal identity, relationships, and at times diversion. They use or consume media to satisfy their needs or to achieve predetermined goals. So it directs their choice of media, content, channel and format. Here, individual audience members have various media and non-media sources to gratify their needs, and media competes with other sources in this process of need gratification. Hedges applied this model to advertising, emphasizing upon the need to explore what the consumers do with advertising more than what advertising does to them. So we see that each consumer expects advertising to provide aesthetic, intellectual and emotional rewards, as per a study done by Lennon in 1992. So now that we understand the theory underlying audience motivations in advertising, it is time to find out what is a motive. Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English defines motive as a reason to do something. In psychology, motive is the physical or psychological state of arousal that guides our behavior. In advertising, motive is the underlying purpose that stimulates the audience to consume the ad and maybe at times the brand. Kotler and his colleagues define motives as a drive or a need that seeks urgent or immediate gratification at a later stage. Needs are instinctive forces that motivate the audience to act, whereas wants are needs we acquire during the course of our life. So we note that motives are derivatives of both needs and wants at different points in time. Since motives are derivatives of needs, it is important to know about human needs. Psychologist Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs model serves as the template to categorize the motives as codified human needs. As per the Maslow's model, physiological needs like hunger, sleep, thirst and sex are the most urgent needs that require our primary attention. We attend to these needs, and once they are satisfied, audience motivations will change to the next level in the hierarchy. On the next level of needs are the safety needs, needs like protection, health, security and comfort. After ensuring satisfaction or gratification of these needs, the individual is motivated by the third tier of needs called as the love needs. Now these are needs like love, belongingness, social identity, affiliation and association. Upon satisfaction of these needs, next important needs will be the set of esteem needs, that is needs for reward, recognition, accolades, self-esteem, status, etc. As these motivations are guided and then met, the highest form of needs take priority. At the top are the self-actualization needs. Self-actualization needs mean need for self-discovery, self-development, engagement with one's own self and self-realization. It takes considerable time to seek and satisfy the actualization needs, and that is why it is a rare motivation in advertising. All the other forms, the physiological, the safety and security, the love and belongingness needs along with esteem needs are important motives in the advertising communication process for all kinds of audiences. So once we visited the needs model, it is important to now classify motives in advertising with respect to the buying intent and behavior. So we can classify motives in advertising into two classes, rational and emotional motives. Rational motives are intentions to act driven by logical or objective thinking. It involves cognitive processing of the brain to arrive at a motive strictly on the basis of rationale and tangible benefits. Rational motives are outcomes of physiological needs and safety needs, the first two tiers of the hierarchy of needs model. They can be further divided into the following subcategories. Rational motives include safety motive. Protection against harm is a rational motive. Paying attention to an advertisement of a Harrison lock or a bank locker or a home safe or health insurance is an example of safety needs. Security too is a rational motive that can be met by seeing or reading advertisements on insurance and investment plans. Ads for health insurance, mutual funds and real estate come under this category. Repeat, security as a rational motive can be met by seeing or reading advertisements on insurance and investments. For example, the health insurance advertisements, ads for mutual funds and real estate fall under this category. The third type of rational motive is economy. Saving is a form of investment in human psyche. Hence, saving on cost of consumption is a very strong rational motive. Getting a price benefit is one of the most profound motives human beings have. So, seeking ads with sales promotion offers, consumer incentives and bargain are also frequently acted upon. Next in line is the comparative price advantage. Another rational motive is the price benefit in comparison to the rival brands in the same product category or genre. Product comparison with respect to price is a sought after motive in advertising, and we see so many advertisements which compare prices of one car against the other, or of one bicycle against the other, or of one laptop against the other. Next motive is suitability. Finding a perfect fit in your existing scheme of things is a strong rational motive. Small houses drove the average metropolitan household in Delhi and Bombay to seek modular kitchens that are compact and very well suited. For that matter, small 4-chair dining sets too are motivated by the limitations of space we face today. Durability. Durability is another important rational motive. It is objective to think that products should last a long time. Need for longevity of the products converts into durability as a rational motive. Household items like sleeping mattresses that last for over 25 years tend to serve that motive and attract the people a lot more. In this slide, we see advertisements centered around rational motives. You can see the Vim advertisement in which the motive of suitability is taken into account, whereas in the Bank of India advertisement, we can see the motive of economy being underlined as an advertising appeal in the creative strategy and executions. Let's now move on to the next category, and that is emotional motives. Emotional motives are drives or needs that are driven by psychological need for emotional gratification. Emotions are feelings that characterize our state of being and expression. When these feelings become the purpose for consuming a brand or communication around it, we say audiences are guided by emotional motives. Some of the commonly known emotional motives are fear. Fear of losing a person, oneself, or a possession is a strong emotional motive that seeks redressal, solutions, or combat. Fear of bad debt, fear of loss of health, fear of loss of property makes the target segment emotionally aroused, thereby seeking remedy in ads as well as brands. Second important emotional motive is the popular humor motive. As desired state of mind is induced through the feeling of laughter, that is why audience seek humor of various kinds from the advertisements. Funny advertisements elicit very high recall and recognition across product categories, both in print and television media. Third important category is prestige. Another kind of emotional motive is prestige. Prestige is a desire to be recognized as a respected or a valuable member in the society. It is induced through reinforcement of status. That is why premium brands use status, position in the society as an advertising appeal. Another emotional motive is love. Seeking love in various forms is perhaps the biggest motive. Love in various forms and manifestations like romantic love, sibling love, filial love, love between parents and children, and its many variants like friendship and kinship form the most popular advertising appeals to cater to the motive of love. We come across so many advertising campaigns of Airtel, of Ghar Ka Khana by Fortune, which show various forms of love, whether it is love between parents and children, or whether it is love as form of friendship, or whether it is romantic notions of love. Next, we move on to vanity and pride. Vanity is self-conceit, the desire to show off one's possession and belongings, whereas pride is a sense of esteem emerging out of one's material achievements. Both are emotional motives that guide advertising messages to cater to their fulfillment. We see enormous amount of advertisements centered around vanity and pride in the personal care segment. These are examples of emotional motives translating into advertising appeals. Here in the Max Life and India Post ads, they're both about love and promise. Here in these ads, we can easily see that the intent or the motive, the underlying motive is not product benefit or price advantage. In fact, it is the emotional connect that is being built between the product and the consumer, which is visible for everyone in both the advertisements. So we can easily see that these ads underline the message of love and promise as emotive appeals. So on the premise that audiences are active and are aware of their needs and motivations, and that we do understand the two types of motives, both rational and emotional, following 7 types of audience motivations were identified by Crozier. These 7 types of audience motivations are product information, entertainment, value addition, implied warranty, post-purchase reassurance, vicarious experience, and involvement. Later on, a more comprehensive typology of audience motivations for advertising was given by Stephanie Donoghue in 1994 in greater detail. Donoghue identified the following audience motivations and classified them as non-market motives and marketing motives. Let's look at the marketing motives first. According to Donoghue, marketing motives are number 1, information. That audiences seek advertisements to know about the product, its features, what is the composition of the product, what is the price of the product, is the price favorable, what is the look and the shape of the product, is the product available in the market. So advertisements are actively sought to know about new product development in the market. What are the new line extensions? What are the new variants which have now entered the market in the recent times? Another important aspect of audience motivations vis-a-vis marketing motivations are choice, competition, and convenience. Audiences are forever trying to know a better good or service by comparing it with the existing brands. They consume advertising messages because it enables them to compare the products without actually going to the store. Hence, advertising helps them make those choices very conveniently, sitting at home. Third type of marketing motives, as per Stephanie Donoghue, are quality assurance and reassurance. The audiences feel that an advertised product is far more credible than a non-advertised one. So, seeing an advertisement makes them assured of a certain sense of quality and a certain sense of value as well. Audiences tend to feel that a brand that no longer advertises is on a decline in its life cycle and should not be purchased. Next, we move on to consumption stimulation. When the audience motivation is to consume, spend, buy, advertising feeds on to that. Not only consumption of goods, audience motives can be to buy a particular media vehicle as well that is carrying the advertisement. In a study done by Donoghue on advertising uses and gratification, a female worker said that she likes buying Vogue magazine to look at the advertisements of clothes, bags, and jewelry. Another important marketing motive is added value. Young consumers use ad messages to form perceptions about self and society. Their images of an accepted body type, of what is chic, of what is hip, what is modern, what is not modern, what is being progressive are all built around the ads they consume. So that's a very important motive that guides people into advertising and leads them onto the brand. Besides product-related motives, there are some non-marketing motives in advertising consumption. It serves the goal of structuring time. Audiences may feel very tired watching a film or a sporting competition or a reality show over a period of time. And so, advertising messages structure that time as you get a break to do the other chores or engage with other assignments or activities. Another important non-marketing motive, which is very popular, is diversion. Boredom creeps in when you're reading a long article or a magazine. Presence of an advertisement breaks the monotony of text and enhances the looking value of the page. Audiences, they seek aesthetics in design and layout while consuming editorial content. So advertisements are gratifying that need for beautification, visual aesthetics, and attraction. A very important need or a non-marketing motive in advertising consumption is entertainment. The need to amuse oneself is profuse. Advertisements are created with an added purpose to entertain. Most of the advertisements we come across not only inform and persuade, but they have a higher entertainment quotient as well, catering to the motive to be entertained for the audiences. So that brings us to different kinds of audience motivations as marketing motives and as non-product motives as well. So at the end, we must understand that identification of target audiences is vital. The need for identification of target audiences is salient because it creates better return on advertising investment as it reduces wasteful expenditure on creative and media mixes. Advertising leakages, that is when advertising messages go to unintended audiences, can be harmful, can have negative unintended effects as well. Many a times, an audience study leads to finding a new target segment to advertise to. It reminds us of the famous quote by Leo Burnett that advertising is selling cornflakes to the people who are eating Cheerios. So, we can easily sum up that in this session, we've understood what are the different kinds of audiences we have and how audiences can be classified based on the Barbara Stern's model of advertising communication. We've also understood what are rational and emotional motives. Alongside, we've also understood different conceptual frameworks as well as typologies of audience motivations. Hope you find this information useful. Thank you.